People do stupid things when it comes to their dog's nutrition, but in this video I am going to tell you the most important ones that we see all the time so that you do not become the sucker. Now, let's get straight into it. Do what your dog wants to do, not what you want. In terms of changing foods, treats, and overall letting your dog run the show. Let me break it to you. Your dog is not in charge. They do not have the ability to be in charge. You're in charge, my friend. And because you're in charge, you cannot let your dog run the show. You cannot let the dog be picky. You cannot let the dog get away with everything. When it comes to treats, when it comes to foods, what we see all the time is that the dog runs the show and not you. You are the one with the money. You are the one with the decision-making process. You are the one that needs to take accountability for your dog. And what that means is that sometimes you will have to be a little bit stricter than you want to be, and that you need to think about what your dog actually needs. And this not only goes for your dog, it also goes for your friend or Facebook groups. Oh, your dog is on raw food. Yeah, me too. When in reality, raw food needs to be tailored to you. You might not have a schedule that agrees with raw feeding. Maybe, in that case, a better approach if you want to raw feed would be to do it on a weekend when you are actually in the house and not working away all the time, where you have a very, very busy household and raw feeding is inconvenient to you. But because you have been following other people on Facebook and because you have been sucked into this particular group or this particular ethos of thinking, now all of a sudden you are also raw feeding, and now this is inconvenient to you, coupled with the fact that now your dog has started being a little bit picky with raw food, and now you are at your wit's end. So maybe for you, kibble is a better option. Maybe for you, finding a better quality kibble is simply the answer. The second one is trust everyone. Trust absolutely everyone. Whatever people say. Does my dog need monthly flea and tick medication? Well, think about this, right? Nobody is washing their kids' heads every Sunday night with chemical treatments in case they catch nits. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, like a lot of tablets and a lot of treatments, a lot of these are metabolized in the liver. And so by you doing this every single month, your dog is going to eventually feel the pressure on their liver, and they might develop some health issues down the line. Now, do not get me wrong, I am a huge advocate for science, and I do believe in flea and worming treatments. However, I only apply them to my dog or cat when I see the evidence. If I don't see the evidence, if I don't see the actual suckers, I'm not going to do a treatment on my dog or cat. Why? Because there's no need for you to be spending money on things that aren't there. They are not there. This is the industry trying to take money off of you. And by the way, if you want to know what the best dog food is, you can check our free guide, How to Feed Your Dog Better. Grab it there, it's absolutely free. Let's move on. Veterinary prescription diets are not actually a prescription. They simply trademark the terms with patents. So you blindly trusting your vet when they recommend something is really on you. Let me tell you something. If you had pancreatitis, if you had diabetes, if you had any health issues, would you only eat the same 3 things every single day forever? Would you only eat one single bag of kibble for the rest of your life with one condition? That's absolutely bonkers. Yet we trust veterinarians to just give us one bag of food, one recipe forever. This is ridiculous and doesn't stand the test of science. It makes absolutely no dietary sense. Think again. If you want to lose weight, you do not eat the same food forever. You just don't do that. However, with dogs, that's what happens. You get given this bag of dog food and you just feed it forever. That's everything the dog is going to need. That's absolutely ridiculous. And let me tell you something. Some of these veterinary prescription diets contain sugar. I don't know you, but I am not giving my pets sugar. That's an absolute no from me. Another thing we see all the time is that if you make your own dog food, sometimes you might fail to understand how to do it properly. Not including bone is a very common one. Adding too much liver, for example, is another one. Or maybe not feeding vegetables properly. Or thinking that your dog can only live on chicken breast or whatever. We see this all the time in our branches. People will come in or on our online consultations, and people are creating imbalances unknowingly in their dog's diets, and they then are surprised, they become surprised when the dog develops any health issues. Because unless you're doing things properly, you might be double counting bone, for example. You might be adding more liver. You might be adding things to your dog's diet that your dog is already getting. As a generic rule of thumb, we want to be close to the 80-10-10 ratio, where 80% of your dog's overall diet needs to be lean meats, and lean meats, high quality meats, is what I mean by lean meats. 10% should be offal, of which 5% should be liver, and then you can add 10% in bone. And then if you want to add some prebiotics, some fruits and vegetables, they need to be pureed so that the goodies from the vegetables and the fruits, the polyphenols, the actual prebiotics, can be absorbed by your dog. But anyway, if you are going to do this, you are better off getting our easy DIY recipe book, link in bio. Another common thing that people do all the time is that supplements are there to supplement. Let me say that again. Supplements are supplements. I mean, if your dog has a deficiency, like you, if you have a deficiency, do add it. But don't do this arbitrarily. And just because you take extra of something, it doesn't mean your dog's body is going to be able to absorb it. Let me tell you something. If you have too much of something, your body will either consume it, absorb it, or will oxidize it, will get rid of it. And by getting rid of it, what you are effectively doing is overloading your dog's liver, your dog's organs to break down those supplements. And what you're doing is you are wasting your money. So do not waste money. If your dog is on a joint supplement, do not then add another joint supplement. That's ridiculous. You just add one joint supplement or one whatever supplement, and do not overdo it. If you overdo it, the body is only going to oxidize it. The body is only going to get rid of it. And what we want to do is for the dog to be able to absorb things properly. We don't want to overload their system. Another common misconception is that people tend to feed their breed instead of their dog. People think that because you have a Frenchie or because you have a golden retriever, I need to find foods that have a Frenchie or a golden retriever on the front of the bag, and that the food that I am going to be giving my dog has been tailored to feed my particular breed. And that, my friend, could not be further from the truth. If you look, for example, at any dog's mouth, they will be very, very similar, if not identical to that one, which means that they all need roughly the same nutrients, the same ingredients, and the same overall good diet. Manufacturers actually know this, and they cater to our own desire to feed our dog in a specific way, and they will do all sorts of marketing ploys in order for you to buy their food, and that could not be further from the actual truth. Just because you have a greyhound, you do not have to feed your dog greyhound food. In reality, a lot of those diets will be packed with fillers and will be packed with ingredients that aren't good. They are just rubbish, and they can get away with it because they do a very good job at marketing. That's all it is. All it is marketing. You need to be feeding your dog and not your breed. Another thing we don't think about all the time is feeding your dog the exact same recipe of kibble every single time. Now, do not get me wrong. I am not against kibble. Kibble is very convenient, and kibble is the most common form of dog food that there is, and cat food for that matter. But the notion that you only pick up the same recipe, the chicken recipe, day in and day out, week in and week out, year in and year out, for the duration of your dog's life is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you do not have the same food every single day. You need different vitamins, you need different minerals, you need poultry and fish, you need red meat, you need a variety of vegetables and you need a variety of fruits, for example, and the more diverse a diet you have, the better you will feel. The same can be said for our dogs. The more meat varieties we give our dogs, the better, the healthier they're going to be. And so if you are one of those that you always pick up the same bag of dog food with the same recipe every single time, why don't you consider something else? Instead of going crazy like I'm saying and choosing 20 different ones, why don't you get 2 or 3 different ones on rotation and you give your dog a variety of different treats and a variety of different things so your dog can get a diversity of proteins, a diversity of meats. The importance of meat sources in your dog's diet cannot be stressed enough. Your dog is a meat eater more than anything else, and what they need is a wide array of different meat sources. At the end of the day, we have only covered a very minuscule set of things that people do, but if you want to know more about your dog's diet, you should really watch this video next.